March 8, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a Boeing 777-200ER aircraft, is ready for takeoff. The 777 is made for international flights to other countries. The flight is 1,590 miles long in distance. The plane is capable of flying 8,555 miles with a full tank. Flight 370 was taking off from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and was headed to Beijing, China. But before the flight takes off, some passengers have some pains and aches. They take out their Dyma Health turmeric to help fight their aches and pains naturally. Try Dyma Health turmeric today for natural pain relief, a great alternative to painkillers. Try it for natural pain relief and aches. That's dymahealth.com, and try the Dyma turmeric at dymahealth.com today. The distance between Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia and Beijing, China is approximately 2,300 miles or 3,700 kilometers when measured as the Great Circle distance, which is the shortest distance over the Earth's surface. After Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. local time, and then the following sequence of events occurred. Chapter 2. The last contact, the last voice communication from the cockpit with air traffic control was at 1:19 a.m. when the captain acknowledged a sign-off from Malaysian airspace saying, "Good night, Malaysian 370, then a loss of communication. Shortly after, at 1:21 a.m., the aircraft's transponder went silent, which meant it stopped transmitting its location and altitude information. This was the last point where the flight was tracked by civilian radar. Chapter 3. Military radar data. Malaysian military radar continued to track the plane as it deviated from its planned flight path. The aircraft made a turn back across the Malay Peninsula, heading northwest, and then turned southwest over the Andaman Sea. Disappearance. After the last military radar contact at around 2:22 a.m., the flight vanished from all radar systems. Chapter 4. A leak. The case went cold for years, with people saying it was a conspiracy theory, but in 2024, a letter was sent to a social media guru named Ashton, telling a new story of what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is a submission sent on January 8, 2024. There is lots to be learned. Keep listening to hear the exact message in a few seconds. The research and reports suggest the leaked video of the three orbs is from a top-secret American military officer. The leaked military video shows Flight 370 vanished from radar after three white glowing UFO orbs were seen flying around it. It was all recorded by American satellites and American drones like the MQ-9 Reaper. Let's listen to the whistleblower's letter.
I work, or have worked, at a military base in the Maldives, and I know exactly what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is all in a letter to Ashton Forbes. You are not wrong, and what you do is much bigger than you can even imagine. Don't stop what you are doing. I won't tell anything about myself more than that I currently, or in the past, have spent time at a military base in the Maldives. I have done this type of work since I joined the military when I was young, and that was many, many decades ago. Still in the game, but the years are starting to get to me. I write this because I want the world to know that most of the trouble on Earth is created for political reasons. The United States, or at least a covert administrative elite of the US, has at will complete control, and this has been true since the 60s. Flight MH370 arrived at our base by our hand at 18:56 UTC after we picked it up midair outside the island of Great Nicobar. Just one of many, many things we do. We can pick up anything, anywhere, and deliver it in an instant, like a magic FedEx. Some facts about why it happened. MH370 had defectors on board. They were running to China, with American technology. They are Chinese by blood and had gotten themselves into a situation with the Chinese regime, who got them to choose to defect. The whole play, everything, and I mean everything about it, was a political play to show the Chinese who's their daddy. That's us. Some facts about how it happened. All passengers are dead, all but the handful of defectors. The plane did not crash. The plane was on fire. We know because we started it. The plane was picked up by us, on fire midair, right in front of the Chinese. The Chinese regime knows exactly what happened, and that was the whole point of the operation. Okay, this is what I want to share with you. As I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I know the technology and have been a part of hundreds of operations. So let's start with the tech. The tech, the foundation, is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. We have had this since the 1960s, and from that first day, we have used it to make sure that no one else can have it. The big breakthrough to apply the tech, as we do today, came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before, we now can do with something akin to machine intuition. This lets us operate in fast-moving environments where event-based logic in linear programming was very limited. As I said, what you have found is not the technology itself. It's just one of many derivatives of the technology. I encourage you to keep on with what you are doing, but you should also be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about. I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter. The products or application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity. The number of orbs you've been speculating about is correct. The fourth orb decides where the object ends up. The technology is based on structures, simple and beautiful structures that let us use the unlimited power that is everywhere and step outside what I would like to describe as perceived reality. The structure that is used for what you are looking at is a metastructure that creates a low complexity and relatively low energy phase transition. The beauty of this technology lies in its elegance and simplicity. The structures are inherently stable and self-regulating, and the earlier challenges to conduct operations were 100% based on the limits of man. With the same technology, just a slightly altered monostructure gives us an infinite power generator that, without maintenance, can run forever. Combine structures to a meta product again, and you have the propulsion for a trans-medium object moving faster than light. It's the definition of magic. There are endless applications, and the truth is that it would change the world in an instant, but that won't happen. I bet yourself, or at least most of your audience, have heard a version of the story that the aliens are here, and they want to bless us with new, clean, and revolutionary technology. But we are a too young and rowdy civilization, and would not be able to be responsible enough with the gifts from them. That's probably made up, but that is at the same time completely true. It's just not aliens saying this, it's us. Again, the technology is infinite in its power, and if two rivaling parties had access to it, this world wouldn't last a day. The same technology, with a combination of monostructures, makes a terrifying weapon that turns any matter into dust, and that dust turns into air. It does not matter if the object is a small bird or an aircraft carrier. It cannot be stopped, it does not miss, and when the object has been hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Okay, so back to MH370. We knew about the defectors as soon as they made their decision, well before that, but then they weren't defectors anyway. We knew when, how, and why, back in December, and as we do, we made it into politics. We let them go, we took them back, and sent the Chinese a clear message of who is in control, and we did this with a brilliantly produced show that is fit for a Hollywood production. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We are the directors. We are the producers. We are the main actors. And the world is our stage. Any good movie has fire, desperation, regret, and drama. And every movie villain should see their plan fall apart. And in really good movies, just when the villain has accepted that the plan has failed, the heroes of the movie step in and make it worse. This is what happened. As soon as we knew what plane was the last leg of their journey, we planned and delivered. So the plane was loaded up with lithium-ion batteries, built by us for this occasion. Lithium-ion batteries cannot be put out, have a predictable burn rate, and we made sure that the volume was just right for a long burn that would allow for a full-length show. The Chinese were following the plane since it was on the tarmac and got to see their most close to success operation go up in flames. And just as all hope was lost, we made it worse right in front of their eyes. 2 hours and 13 minutes in, they saw the plane get phased out of there by the same technology they were trying to get access to. And 5 days later, the Chinese officially made a gesture of submissiveness by publishing a frame from the satellite of the phase moment via the State Administration for Science. The publishing was talked about in American newspapers as a possible debris field, but when you know what you are looking at, it's clear what the frame shows. The aftermath, during the 5 days after the show, the Chinese found out about the batteries that we both made and placed on the plane. They accepted that we have been playing with them the whole time, and at the same time could accept that the people they had convinced to defect did what they wanted. It was us that stopped them. The defectors had a good corrective experience when it comes to staying loyal, and were back on the job as usual, but with a new understanding, both of their importance and the consequences of their actions. What was nothing more than another Friday at the office for the administrative elite. 200 people had the most confusing death experience you could imagine. 1,500 people lived a tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and tens of thousands spent months searching, millions, speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. Not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of, not by us. Not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with. There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and some new technology his friends had discovered on some island somewhere. He did record another episode, but it has never been published. Doesn't the wording sacred geometry remind you of something? If you choose to spend time on this, which I think you should, instead of more aliens, keep in mind that your case is one product of the technology. What happens on the other island, you will understand this if you pursue it, is another more rudimentary product. What if those in combination could lead you on the right path to the actual technology? The gray-bearded man is the key, and he probably has no idea that he is. Finally, I want to say this. How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing Tri-7 midair? Someone who, when needed, has complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events, and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them and you don't stop talking.
And that was the official whistleblower letter for Flight 370. Chapter 6. Ashton was one of the first people to see this video upload in 2014 and to download it. He started reposting the original videos that have now been deleted on YouTube. The original videos were uploaded in 2014 by Regicide Anon. The YouTube account only had 119 subscribers. The video title was labeled Satellite Video Airliner and UFOs. It got 77,164 views and 126 likes. The account and video have now been deleted. So who originally leaked the video? Lieutenant Commander Edward Lin, aka Edward C. Lin, was initially charged with espionage and attempted espionage after his 2015 arrest at Honolulu Airport while boarding a flight to China. However, due to insufficient evidence linking him directly to spying activities, the espionage charges were eventually dropped. Lin then pleaded guilty to lesser charges, which included mishandling classified information and failing to report foreign contacts, leading to a sentence of 6 years in confinement and his dismissal from the US Navy. Lin's case highlighted issues of military justice, the complexities of prosecuting espionage, and the challenges of managing sensitive information and foreign relations within the military. Lin served as a naval flight officer specializing in signals intelligence, known as SIGINT, on the US Navy's Lockheed Martin EP-3E Ares II reconnaissance aircraft. Lin is a Mandarin-speaking US Navy officer. What was the video that he allegedly leaked? Video of flight MH370 with 3 glowing orbs that seems to teleport into another dimension or place. When Lieutenant Commander Edward Lin was first arrested at the Honolulu airport in 2015 while boarding a flight to China, military investigators initially believed they had a significant espionage case. Because Lin had access to highly sensitive US military intelligence, he was accused of leaking classified information. The case drew widespread attention due to Lin's background and the nature of the allegations, suggesting a possible betrayal of national security by an officer who had served for over 17 years in the US Navy. Research shows he is a regular, normal guy who loves his family and is an American patriot, according to news reports from his family. Edward Lin held a security clearance above top secret, giving him access to some of the Navy's most guarded secrets. At the moment of his arrest, he was part of Special Projects Squadron 2, known for its role in airborne signals exploitation. Lin initially served as an enlisted member in the nuclear force before advancing in his career. His knowledge spanned not only from his tenure at VPU-2, but also from his role as a congressional liaison, where he was exposed to the Navy's classified black programs as confirmed by various sources. This depth of knowledge could have been significantly beneficial to adversaries if exploited. According to the US Naval Institute's initial report, Lin's role as a signals intelligence specialist on these sensitive aircraft missions contributed to him holding such a high clearance. He had previously led as a department head in a Special Projects Patrol Squadron in Hawaii, responsible for operating these highly specialized intelligence-gathering planes. Lin's close ties and frequent interactions with Taiwanese officials were problematic because he failed to report these to his security clearance managers, a significant oversight for someone with his level of clearance, according to experts. Evidence gathered by investigators showed that Lin often traveled abroad while consistently listing his Northern Virginia home address on his leave documentation. Notably, he took a trip to Taiwan with his wife where he met Vice ADM Richard Chen, the Taiwanese Chief of Naval Operations. Lin was acquainted with Chen from his earlier assignment at the US Pacific Fleet headquarters in Hawaii, as detailed in Cao's deposition. The arrest of Lieutenant Commander Edward Lin came after he met multiple times with an undercover FBI agent known as Catherine Wu. During these meetings, which took place between August and September 2015, Lin shared general information about his highly classified unit, Special Projects Patrol Squadron 2 Wizards, VPU-2. This unit, stationed at Marine Corps Air Station Kaneohe, Hawaii, is known for using specialized aircraft to gather signals intelligence on potential threats to the US. The legal proceedings against Lin took a turn when the espionage charges were dropped, and he entered into a plea bargain with the government. Under this agreement, Lin pleaded guilty to lesser charges, including mishandling classified information and not reporting foreign contacts. This plea deal resulted in Lin expressing remorse in court, stating he never intended to spy on his country. His sentence, 6 years in confinement, after which he would be dismissed from the Navy. And now, the case has seemed to gone cold, with little news about this story in the world right now, but it makes sense for how valuable the technology is. Freescale Semiconductor was later acquired by NXP Semiconductors in 2015. Chapter 7. Secret Military Projects. These projects, often referred to as black projects, are unacknowledged special access programs that involve innovative military technology, stealth capabilities, and advanced weaponry. Central to these initiatives is the development of naval platforms that can operate undetected or with significantly reduced visibility to enemy sensors. One notable example from the past is the Sea Shadow, a prototype stealth ship built by Lockheed for the US Navy to test radar-invisible naval ship configurations and stability. Although Sea Shadow was never meant for combat, it provided critical data that could be applied to future naval stealth technology. Another aspect of the Navy's black budget involves research into electronic warfare, propulsion systems, and intelligence gathering. Projects like Retract Juniper and Link Plumeria have been mentioned in budget documents, but with minimal detail, suggesting they are part of the broader effort to maintain naval superiority through technological edge. These projects likely include advancements in submarine silencing and detection technologies, as well as efforts to counter enemy electronic surveillance and communication systems. The Navy's involvement in these secretive endeavors ensures that its fleet remains one of the most technologically advanced in the world, capable of executing missions in environments where traditional detection methods are rendered ineffective. The operational secrecy surrounding these projects extends to the use of special facilities and testing ranges, where new technologies are developed and evaluated away from public or even congressional scrutiny. The Nevada test site and Area 51 have been historically linked with such activities, although specific Navy projects remain largely unconfirmed publicly. The funding for these black projects comes from what is known as the black budget, which is a portion of the defense budget that is not openly accounted for, allowing for the development of highly classified technologies. Chapter 8. Freescale Semiconductor. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 vanished carrying 240 passengers, among them 20 employees of Freescale Semiconductor. Freescale Semiconductor is a US-based technology company with operations in Austin, Texas, confirmed that these employees were aboard the flight en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The missing staff included 12 Malaysian nationals and 8 Chinese nationals, all of whom worked in the company's chip manufacturing facilities in their respective countries. This tragic incident led to widespread speculation and concern, particularly because of the roles these employees held in the semiconductor industry. The employees from Freescale were described as highly experienced technical staff, integral to the company's operations in Malaysia and China. They were involved in optimizing the efficiency of Freescale's chip facilities, which were crucial for producing semiconductors for a range of applications, including automotive, consumer products, and telecommunications. The loss of these 20 individuals was not only a personal tragedy for their families, but also represented a significant blow to Freescale's operational capabilities. The company responded by providing support to the families, organizing grief counseling, and maintaining a focus on their well-being amidst the unfolding mystery of the flight's disappearance. The incident sparked numerous conspiracy theories, particularly due to Freescale's involvement in the defense sector. Freescale Semiconductor was known for its work in developing chips for military applications like radar and electronic warfare systems. Some theories suggested that the employees might have been targeted because of their knowledge or their potential involvement with sensitive technology. However, these were largely speculative, with no concrete evidence to support such claims. Freescale Semiconductor officially stated that these employees were traveling for a business meeting, not carrying any sensitive materials or information. The disappearance of Flight MH370 and its passengers, including the Freescale employees, remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. America 24 News has come to the conclusion that the orbs in the video flying around Flight 370 could be controlling the plane, and it appears the three orbs teleport the plane, as the whistleblower says. Could this explain the change in course of direction for the plane? It seems it was not the pilots who changed the direction of the plane. Donald Kehoe actually speaks about this in many of his books. Orbs controlling fighter planes in World War II and flying by and watching them. Donald mentions how the orbs have the technology and ability to disable the plane's electronics, removing its capability to navigate, land, or fly. But the question is why? And are these orbs man-made or from another universe? Were they going to leak highly classified technology about anti-gravity to the Chinese military in Beijing? China was the plane's final destination. The drone video is from the American military watching Flight 370. The three American orbs, or drones as some people say, came in circling around the plane to control it and teleport it through another dimension back to the fourth orb location, most likely a hangar at Diego Garcia Island. Is this how some of the phones of the passengers were still ringing? And where is Diego Garcia base? The Diego Garcia American military base. Diego Garcia is a small atoll in the British Indian Ocean Territory, but it hosts a significant US military base known as Naval Support Facility Diego Garcia. Established in the 1970s, this strategic outpost has been pivotal for the US military operations in the Indian Ocean, providing support for naval ships, submarines and aircraft, including during conflicts like the Gulf War, Afghanistan and Iraq wars. The base's location allows for rapid deployment of forces and logistics support in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Controversies surround the base due to the forcible relocation of the native Chagossian people to make way for its construction. That's a story for another day. The Flight 370 plane teleportation. The de Broglie-Bohm pilot wave theory, also known as Bohmian mechanics, is a deterministic interpretation of quantum mechanics. It was initially proposed by Louis de Broglie in 1927 and later developed by David Bohm in the 1950s. This theory attempts to resolve the conceptual challenges posed by the Copenhagen interpretation's probabilistic nature by introducing a guiding equation, where particles have definite positions at all times, guided by a wave function. Einstein had a spooky action at a distance. One of the key features of the de Broglie-Bohm theory is its non-locality. This means that the trajectory of each particle is affected by the instantaneous influence of the entire wave function, leading to what Einstein referred to as spooky action at a distance. This non-locality is crucial because it allows the theory to account for quantum entanglement and other quantum phenomena without relying on the collapse of the wave function. Instead, the wave function evolves according to the Schrödinger equation, and the particles are always guided by this evolving wave, which can span across vast distances. This interpretation also implies that the universe must be described by a theory that is inherently non-local, which challenges our classical intuitions about causality and information transfer. In simple terms, this effect was first discovered by the German physicists Walter Meissner and Robert Ochsenfeld in 1933. They observed that when superconducting materials like tin or lead were cooled in the presence of a magnetic field, the magnetic field was pushed out of the material. This property distinguishes superconductors from mere perfect conductors because a perfect conductor would simply freeze any existing magnetic field within it without expelling it. The practical demonstration of the Meissner effect is often seen in experiments where a magnet levitates above or below a superconductor. This levitation occurs because the superconductor expels the magnetic field of the magnet, creating a repulsive force. This effect is not only fascinating from a scientific perspective, but also has potential applications in magnetic levitation technologies, like in maglev trains, or in devices requiring zero magnetic field environments. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.